Clare Smyth, hello.
Hi.
We're very happy to see you here. You're Elite World Best Female Chef 2018. First of all, congratulations on the prize. We're here in Bilbao, in Spain, for the World 50 Best Restaurant competition. How does that feel to be the world best female chef?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. It's wonderful when people vote for you, and I'm very honoured. And also, the other female chefs, the previous winners, are amazing people. So we've been catching up quite a lot, which is great.
Well, we know it's been a controversial prize and it's been talked about so much. Is the point that it's a bit boring now to talk about it a good sign that people are ready for equality? I mean, there's so few of you.
Yeah.
So is it a good sign?
Yeah, I think it is a good sign, but we've got work to do. You know, there's still not enough women coming through in kitchens or being celebrated enough. We're not seeing, enough women on lists like the 50 best. So. Well, there is work to do still, and this prize, I take it as a celebration for women in hospitality. It's not really for me, but it's like a platform to talk, and I take it as a positive thing to be able to talk about the issues that we face in our industry and to make it better.
Or do you think positive discrimination, because that's what it is at the end of the day, is something that's necessary, even temporary?
I think that we've got to talk about it. It opens up the debate. By doing nothing, we're not going to change anything. And I think we need to open the debate up, but use it for a positive change. And I think that's the most important message: is not to accept it as a negative. The job in the kitchen is not different for a man or a woman. It's not gender specific, but we need to find a way to promote and celebrate more women and make them visible.
We're here at the Guggenheim in Bilbao, well, close to the Guggenheim, close enough, but this is where the World 50 Best revolves around celebrating art and food. And one of the topics is food meets art, something that was widely talked about during the series of events. What about you? Do you have any favorite artist?
Yeah, I mean, I love art, and for me, a sense of place. And we're based in a city, so that's quite important. But yet we deal with nature every day. So natural forms meets London. We have a young British artist, David Ewan-Eason, that made us a map of London in gold, and the centre of it is core, which is fitting because our restaurant, the core of it is core. But yet we have the natural forms. We have Bridget Riley that lives around the corner in Holland Park, and we have her art. So it's personal to me, and it's a sense of place.
And I mean, especially with Bridget Riley, it's all about the place and the physicality, the relationship with the work. There's another artist that's represented in the collection, which is Mark Queen.
Yes.
And maybe can you talk about that relationship and the sense of place that it creates, and even the sense of identity, personality, up to your personality and identity?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the natural forms, the ID, the human fingerprint is unique, and every human being is unique. And also, it's the time we live in. But we do a fun play with it, because it's, you spend your life wiping fingerprints off of plates as in a restaurant or a chef, and you're like, who put their fingerprint on that plate? So I've put my fingerprint on a plate. So now we're going to do it as a joke. So we're going to do it in copper, which is from traditional cooking pans. And yeah, it's a bit of a joke inspired by Mark Quinn.
Well, both food and art are about creativity at the end of the day. But maybe one main difference is that art is about breaking the rules, knowing the rules, maybe to break them. And supposedly the artist is always free. Maybe as a chef, one rule that you're not supposed to break is harmony, because at the end of the day, it has to taste like something that you want to try and have again. If it's awful, the customers are not coming back. How do you see yourself in that context of being an artist, being free, but working with the constraint of having customers?
I think, flavor comes first, always, and the chef comes first before anything else. The first thing we start with is flavor and balance and harmony, and then we change and create and finesse the dish. But it's always got to be for flavor purposes. Ultimately, it's to eat the food, not to look at it.
Well, speaking of looking at it, I mean, many artists have used actually visual expressions to comment on another sense, use synesthesia, like Kupka, for example, who was trying to paint music. And maybe, do you have any parallel in food that when you're looking at it, you're starting to taste it, and then the surprise comes after, whether it's relating to what you were expecting or completely different?
Yeah, I mean, I think the element of surprise is sometimes we have to have fun with food. And we do a dish and it's called the lamb carrot, but recently we've developed the other carrot, which looks like a carrot but it's dessert. But it's kind of, and it's about the fun. You know, we can't take things too seriously. We have to have that bit of fun with food and surprise people, because that is also art and creativity. It's entertainment, and that's what we're there for.
And there's another very important point for art is to make you look at the world very differently, which you bring, which is very important in your restaurant. At core, you're questioning society and how we consume. Sustainability is a very big topic. Mm-hmm. Can you explain maybe how you deal with it and changing the rules again, maybe putting the meat on the side as opposed, you were talking about the carrots become the meat.
Yeah. So often, I mean, this dish in particularly, we would often use vegetables to flavour stocks or to make braises of stew, and then you discard the vegetables. But for me as a chef, I always steal the carrot and eat it myself. It's very soft, there's lots of flavour and sweetness. So my idea was then, okay, well, if I always eat this piece, then this is like the best bit. So we created the dish with the carrot being the main bit and the meat on the side. And it's also proving that what is more or less valuable? Why do we consider things to be better or worse? Things can be just as enjoyable with a humble ingredient. And it's educating people to think about food in a different way. We need to make people realize, and all chefs do it, but we've got to push. It's like you push against the tide and eventually we will flip it, but people will need to realize they need to stop eating so much meat.
And you think beyond this need for sustainability and being inspired by nature and going back to the roots, is there any other main inspiration as a creative person that you see every day when you create a dish? What comes first, the flavor, the idea of a flavor? The ingredient or something can be cultural for me. I really want to celebrate British fine dining, British haute cuisine, which is something that's not naturally, we have a really great, mid-market. British food is like rustic, traditionally. But there is a culture in that, but no one's really thought about it and thinking, right, I'm going to do this and elevate Britishness. And so that's something that I kind of work with and try and do. So we do plays on things like jellied eels and kind of a sense of what it is to be British. So ingredients to me, even going back, it's education. So one of the ingredients is spelt we use. So I wanted to use spelt because spelt has been grown in Somerset, and the place we buy it from on the farm, for 5,000 years. It's one of the purest grain forms, and it's good for you. And to tell the story of that now is really important. So these are all the stories that we try to put through our food. So for me, the ingredient is really, it's like I want to use spelt because of this. So Yorkshire rhubarb was another thing. Forced rhubarb, very British, but people don't actually know how it grows, how long it takes to grow, and it's shrinking. So we focus on the rhubarb and we play on British rhubarb and custard. But it's always about a reason to use that ingredient. Well, speaking of education, last question. What would be your advice to young and budding chefs, male and female, who want to break into an industry that's already very tough and maybe overpopulated?
Yeah, I think it's really, really hard work. You need to learn your craft really well. It's like the same thing as being an artist. You say you can't break the rules until you master the techniques. And it doesn't happen quickly. It takes a long, long time. People have to be dedicated to learn and master their techniques to be a really good chef so that you have consistency. And then you can break the rules.
Clare Smyth, thank you very much.
Thank you.